Mr. Rokita.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Can we go back to Figure 8, please? I guess not. Figure 12. This happens about this.
You can start. I'll catch up to you.
Yeah. Is this the I just want to understand, and this has been alluded to a few times, but Figure 8 is fine. These are the numbers we projected from our budget last year, and it's in contrast to what would happen if we did nothing. So you see, with, as you mentioned earlier, with the baby boomers retiring at $10,000 per day, what happens? Then we go to Figure 12, please. And that's your chart, I believe. And it correctly indicates the plateau that you talk about within the 10-year budget window, where you claim to stabilize the debt to GDP ratio. But you see a similar tidal wave after that. Now, from that, I take that you and the administration are prioritizing a constituency in the here and now. Republicans, Democrats, Americans in the here and now, whoever they are, that can vote for you, vote to reelect you, vote to reelect or punish all of us now, at the expense of a constituency that will never reward any of us.
No, I don't agree with that.
That will never reward any of us because, why? Whether they're Republicans or Democrats, they don't exist yet. They're the children of tomorrow. They're the children of my two boys. You don't agree with that. Go ahead.
I don't agree with that. Maybe we can go back to Figure 8.
Yeah.
For a second.
Go back to Figure 8.
Okay. What's interesting about that chart is, again, once you get past the next 10 years and you get to the deep fog of uncertainty about the decades beyond that, is why does your green path, you call it path to prosperity, why does that decline? And the reason why it declines, and Mr. Chairman, I apologize for saying it this way, but I think it's true, is that you guys propose to take hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars out of low-income and middle-class retirement programs. And that's why you get that number down. Now, the reason why we're having this debate is because we don't think that's the fair, right way to do it. Now, you all are invoking your children, which, of course, I respect. I have children, too. And I spent my life in public service. And I'm in this job because I care so much about the basic economic future of the country. We share that basic obligation. I would just make the suggestion that, as President Reagan recognized, and I think most presidents have had to confront, you cannot govern a country if you commit never to raise taxes on anybody, because things change, wars happen, crises happen, and millions of Americans are retiring.
If that's the case, you're claiming my time. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. If that's the case, what is the proper amount for a federal government to confiscate from its people in order to run its operations?
Well, in our budget, that's a good question, although I wouldn't use that word.
Oh, no, you're confiscating property. You're confiscating the work and the money of individual citizens to run your operations. And if the current level is not accurate, it's not appropriate, what is appropriate if it's arbitrary? What is the appropriate amount for a federal government to confiscate from its own people in order to run itself?
But can I just ask this question? Do you think a tax to pay for defense budget?
I'm reclaiming my time. This is not a question. This is a simple question.
Okay,
if we're wrong,
in our budget,
we're not taking enough.
Okay,
what is the proper amount to take?
Okay, in our question, since you're not using confiscation again, in our budget,
what amount is it proper to confiscate?
In our budget, if you were to adopt it, revenues would rise to slightly more than 20% of GDP by the end of the decade, which is lower than the revenue forecast implied from the policies in the Simpson-Bowles plan, for which many of you have showed so much affection.
Okay, so about a fifth for the GDP is appropriate.
Slightly higher than the historic average, but lower than what Simpson-Bowles proposed.
So right now we're a little bit below average, but historically it's been about 18 to 20%.
Yeah, so
it's not a revenue problem historically that we have. It's a spending problem if you agree with that figure, or if you agree with your own figure, figure 12.
Well, we propose to reduce spending to about 22% of GDP, a little higher than 22% of GDP. And the reason why it's that high is because Americans are retiring. Now, So we can't suspend the reality of people retiring, and because we give people retirement security and health care security and Medicare and Social Security, that causes those spending levels to rise.
Thank you. I yield back. Thank you.